I'm gonna talk about Tommy Boy today. Love
The
loved,
movie
beloved.
that defined your entire childhood.
Dude,
Holy
this
shit.
is the humor in Tommy Boy. Like, in general, Chris Farley as a person, when I was in middle school, watching the best of SNL DVDs with my dad, and then this movie specifically, I would watch over and over and over again to memorize the movie so that I could go to school and quote it with you guys at lunch. And it defined my personality for a little bit. Just like how in 2020, when did Joker come out? 2019? When Joker came out in 2019, every dude made that their personality, right? I was doing that 10 years ago. Posers! Get on it! Get on it sooner. It's a lot more fun when you do it in middle school and in 2008. So I don't know what to say about this movie that hasn't already been said, but if you are someone who doesn't know at all what I'm talking about when I mention Chris Farley or Tommy Boy or SNL, honestly. No, I feel like people know about SNL. So on SNL in 1992, I think, somewhere in the early 90s, SNL had what would now be considered, in retrospect, the second like golden era of writers and cast members. So in the writers' room, in the late 80s and the early 90s, you had Conan O'Brien, you had Bob Odenkirk, you had Greg Daniels, who went on to make The Office. And then cast-wise, you had Adam Sandler, Chris Rock, David Spade, Rob Schneider, basically everyone who was ever in like Grown Ups, the franchise. But you also had not Tommy Boy. That's later. You also had Chris Farley, who I would argue is probably one of the best cast members in the show's history. He was so electric. Every scene that he was in, every sketch that he was in, he was the main focus because there's just this energy about him that made it impossible not to watch. And then he came out with the Matt Foley sketch with Christina Applegate and David Spade, and it has, I don't know, I don't even know how many views on YouTube, but even before that, people would you know,
like it's that one and the cowbell one. That's like
Yeah.
the skits from that entire 40 years of that show.
Yeah. And speaking of Will Ferrell, he was also like every, let's say like 7 years or so, there's usually like one or two cast members each like cast that defines that generation. Will Ferrell definitely defined like the early 2000s cast of SNL. Chris Farley defined the early to mid 90s SNL. And tragically, Chris Farley passed away too soon. I think somewhere in 1997 or 98, he was recording lines for the original Shrek movie before Mike Myers replaced him, who was also on the show at that time. In 95, he filmed a movie with David Spade that was produced by Lorne Michaels, the creator of SNL, called Tommy Boy. And it's all about Tommy is the son of a man who owns a brake pad distributor or manufacturer. So early on in the movie, like Tommy Boy, Tommy graduates college just barely, and he comes back home and he celebrates with his dad, and his dad is like, hey, one day you're going to take over. And Tommy's like, no, I'm not going to take over. And he's like, all right, well, I met this new gal. We're going to get married, blah, blah, blah. Tommy's dad has a heart attack at the wedding, and he passes away. And he inherits the company, but in order to secure good faith with all of the major buyers that his dad's company had made over all of the years, he goes on a road trip with David Spade, who worked for his dad, and stops. It's a buddy road trip movie. All the while, the the wife of Tommy's dad, Bo Derek, is married like secretly to Rob Lowe. And Rob Lowe is an asshole in this movie, which is so fun to see because usually he's like, I know him from Parks and Recreation where he's like overly nice. But then to see him in Tommy Boy, like ask Chris Farley if he ate paint chips as a kid because he thinks he's so dumb. I don't know. It's inherently funny. But no, man. I mean, the movie is full of really good jokes and really good Chris Farley isms and like manic movements that kind of emphasize that chaotic energy like that Chris Farley had. It's really endearing too. Like there are definitely some scenes that like upon rewatch you can definitely tell that there was a little bit of like Chris's own life injected into like that character. But yeah, you know, there's some good messages in there about like living up to expectations and finding your own path and you know, figuring out which Hancock signed the Declaration of Independence. It was Herbie Hancock. Duh. But yeah, man, I didn't think about all of that when I was a kid. All I was concerned about as a kid was the fact that I knew people in my family that liked the movie and laughed at it. So because I wanted to be the center of attention and I wanted that approval and that affirmation, I memorized a bunch of the movie, and that's where you come in, David, because I'm sure you remember plenty of afternoons spent at lunch at both Kirkstra and Hilly, where I would quote frickin' Tommy Boy.
Holy shnikes. And
What'd you do?
Yeah, there's so many like good scenes, like that whole you're driving along, that whole thing. You had the bread.
Yeah.
That whole thing. Jeez, what else?
You had
the what'd you do? The car thing.
Yeah, with the door. You had Fat Man in a little coat.
Little coat. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, David Spade was perfect for. He was perfect for the role as opposite Chris Farley, because like David Spade plays the perfect like sarcastic like foil to like Chris Farley's over the top, you know, performance. And I'm trying to think, there's Dan Aykroyd is in the movie too, and he said something that that Lopez quoted a lot. I feel like it was like I don't know, man. It was something funny about like his tagline, because he was also another, like, you know, he owned auto parts. It was like, I'm an hour, and I can't remember what he said.
Oh, I don't remember.
Yeah, that's all right. What my associate is trying to say here is that our new brake pads are pretty cool. Say you're driving along the road with your family. You're driving along. Truck tire in the middle of the road. You hit the brakes. Whoa, that was close. Now let's see what happens now let's see what happens with the other guy's brake pads. You're driving along. Kids are crying in the back seat. I gotta go to the bathroom, Daddy. Not now, damn it. Truck tire. I can't stop. Oh no, a cliff. Oh my God, we're burning alive. Oh, here comes the meat wagon. Woo, woo. Rookie gets out and says, shit. Fuck.
Guy gets out and says, oh my God. New guy's in the corner puking his brains out.
All because you wanted to save a couple extra pennies. Well, to me, that doesn't...
Get out.
What?
No.
Get out. Do you validate? Oh, boy. For something that I haven't quoted in probably like 7 minutes, that went just as well as I thought it would.
Not too bad.
It sounded a lot better in middle school when I memorized it.
Yeah.
And a lot more annoying. It was a lot louder, but that contributes to the performance, you know? So anyway, I don't know. I don't have a whole lot, again, to say about this movie or Chris Farley as a performer that hasn't already been said ad nauseum, because being such a legendary performer, and especially a performer that was gone way too soon, I feel like everyone kind of has an opinion on Chris Farley, and during conversations about him, this movie always gets brought up because I would consider it probably one of his most notable works, other than the Matt Foley sketch. So, yeah, man, I don't know if I ever showed you the rest of that, like, best of Chris Farley DVD.
I think so. But my favorite was always the coffee one. Do you know what you're drinking is not coffee? It's something crystals. What?
Yeah, he's just so earnest. And it's supposed to be one of those commercials that are like, oh, you're actually drinking this thing, but it's like a hidden camera thing. But Chris Farley gets like so genuinely angry because he feels
you son of a bitch. You lied to me.
And he grabs the waiter, and then someone has to hit him over the head with a frying pan, like, over and over and over again. And then it cuts to, I think, like, a news story, and it's like, that was the gentleman who starred in the now famous, like, Crystalline coffee commercial. We have him here in the studio right now. Sir, how are you feeling? And he's like, they were like, do you remember how you felt that day? And he's in like a full like arm cast, and like he's got bandages over his head and a black eye, and he's like angry.
Oh, I still have it on my Facebook. It's the first photo I ever posted.
The first photo
or video, yeah, from 2012.
Oh shoot!
What the fuck? This is bullshit. Do you hear it?
Out of your headphones?
Now it's coming out of my headphones, but you won't come out of my headphones.
I do.
What the
I do
fuck
hear
is
it.
that bullshit?
It could be an input-output thing. Like in your settings on Zoom.
Oh. I might be a Dumonu.
What? Oh, no.
I forgot to manually switch the
Oh God.
The audio
David.
output. It's loud. Anyway.
David.
Okay, that's better.
Well, now you have, I would argue, an even more gamer look.
What's up, gamers? Today we're playing some Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Trying to get this no-scope in right quick. So, God, it's so fucking loud sometimes. I'm sorry. This whole audio situation's fucked.
Hey, you know what? This is no, this is still a good episode.
It's fucked.
How we feeling, guys? How we feeling, everybody at home? I can't hear you.
Such fucking bullshit. That's how I'm feeling.
Oh.
Why is it like really quiet all of a sudden? I don't know.
Angry.
It's fucked. It's fucked.
It's fine.
I'm angry.
It's fine. So anyway, one of these days I'm gonna have to watch Tommy Boy again because I have the deluxe DVD. I think it might be in a steelbook. I can't remember.
It is. It's the Holy Shnikes edition. I remember you getting it.
Oh yeah. What was that? FYE? Something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have it. I just gotta watch it. Maybe this is my re-entering Chris Farley era. Just to like find more stuff that he's in. But anyway, yeah, go see Tommy Boy. I would say it's probably one of the best. Like, I don't know. I might be a little biased, but I would go ahead and put it on the list of like best comedies of all time, just because it makes me laugh a whole lot. And honestly, there aren't a whole lot of like strictly comedy movies that come out these days.